Alan here to explain how AI is sometimes wrong. Not necessarily why it's wrong, but more so the focus being on how it's wrong. Okay, let's start with a Google search of you can't fit a 1-inch square peg into a 1-inch square hole. You are correct. A 1-inch square peg cannot fit into a 1-inch square hole because they are the same size. And a square peg and a round hole is idiom for a misfit, which we're not regarding currently. We're more on the focus on the literal, the secondary. Here, about a statement about fitting physical objects, and a 1-inch square peg in a 1-inch square hole would fit perfectly. That's the opposite of what I said that it agreed to. Okay, literal fit. If a 1-inch square peg were to be placed into a 1-inch square hole, it would fit perfectly, as the dimensions were identical. Okay, to describe compatibility, right? Okay, over on the next page. A 1-inch square peg will not fit into a 1-inch square hole unless there is clearance. A 1-inch square peg cannot fit into a 1-inch square hole without some form of clearance because their exact dimensions prevent a perfect fit. Even though the phrase square peg and a round hole is an idiom, we're skipping that. In a purely physical sense, a 1-inch square peg can fit into a hole that it is at least 1 inch by 1 inch, but it will be a snug fit with no room for movement. Therefore, it won't move. Physical fit for a 1-inch square peg to fit into a 1-inch square hole. There must be some clearance. We said that. Reading it again. Idiomatic meaning, we're skipping that. Figurative, the idiom about blah, 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 blah. Practical approach. In woodworking context, a carpenter might bevel the corners of the peg to make it easier to fit, so it will fit in the first place, so it can move. Or it might be slightly shaving down the edge of the peg, you make clearance. Okay. Now, why is it wrong? Why is it disagreeing with itself? Why is it contradictory? Because it gets its information from us. It culminates the information from us. We give it corrupt information, so it's going to spit this back out. It's not corrupt. What it's receiving is somewhat corrupt. Yes, because people can't make up their minds and decide that no, a square 1-inch peg won't fit into a square 1-inch hole. You'd have to force it. You'd have to hammer the motherfucker in there. Okay, now let's get on to the idiomatic meaning. Now we skip over that. We pretty much know what that means. Square peg and round hole. Come on. Okay, there's two types of people in the world. I'm a round peg. I'm supposed to go in a square hole. Some people are square pegs. They're supposed to go in a round hole for room to breathe and room to get your ass out of there if need be. Okay, I'm a round peg trapped in a round hole. Some people are square pegs trapped in square holes. I'm a round peg trapped in a round hole with a square peg above me, and other square pegs in their square holes, up out of their square holes, encroaching over onto me, making it so I can't even breathe, even more than I can't. And the fact of the matter is, this place is supposed to be all square holes for us to fit into, but they're not. There aren't supposed to be any round holes, except for the ones that are big enough for the squares to fit into. Some of those squares, they go around and taper themselves down to fit into round holes. That ain't me.